Hi there! My name is Sparkle, and I'm not your ordinary toothbrush. I'm an adventurer, a warrior, and a dreamer. Every morning and every night, I embark on a journey that's as thrilling as it is messy. My mission? To keep my owner, Jake, smiling bright and healthy. But let me tell you, it's not as easy as it sounds. You see, being a toothbrush isn't just about scrubbing teeth. It's about battling the remnants of Jake's late-night snacks, dodging the overzealous squeeze of toothpaste, and sometimes, just sometimes, dreaming of a life beyond the bathroom sink. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let me take you through one of my most memorable days, an adventure that changed everything. The day started like any other. Jake grabbed me from my holder, and I braced myself for the usual routine. But as soon as I saw his breakfast plate, pancakes drenched in syrup, bacon, and a suspiciously sticky-looking orange juice, I knew this wasn't going to be an ordinary day. As Jake brought me closer to his mouth, I could already see the battlefield. Syrup clung to his molars like a stubborn invader, while bacon bits had lodged themselves in the crevices of his teeth. It was chaos in there, but I was ready. All right, Sparkle, I told myself, time to shine. The first swipe was always the hardest. The syrup fought back, sticking to my bristles like glue. But I pushed through, scrubbing and swirling until the molars gleamed. Then came the bacon bits. Oh, those pesky little things. They hid in the tightest spaces, laughing at my efforts. But I had a secret weapon, my angled bristles. With a quick twist, I dislodged them one by one, sending them tumbling into the abyss of the sink below. Just when I thought the worst was over, Jake squeezed the toothpaste tube. And, as usual, he squeezed too much. A mountain of mini freshness landed on me, threatening to overwhelm my bristles. Jake! I wanted to scream. Do you think I'm a shovel? But there was no time to complain. The toothpaste was both my ally and my enemy. It gave me the power to fight plaque, but it also made my job 10 times messier. As I worked my way through Jake's teeth, the mini foam grew thicker and thicker, until I could barely see where I was going. And then it happened. The twist. Jake's phone rang. He got distracted, leaving me mid-scrub, covered in foam, and dangling precariously over the edge of the sink. I could feel the pull of gravity, the cold porcelain below calling my name. Don't drop me, don't drop me, don't. Splash! I landed in the sink, toothpaste foam splattering everywhere. For a moment, I just lay there, stunned. This was it. My adventure was over. I was going to be rinsed down the drain, forgotten forever. But then, something incredible happened. Jake picked me up, rinsed me off, and, get this, he apologized. Sorry, Sparkle, he said, as if he knew what I'd just been through. It was a small moment, but it meant the world to me. Because in that moment, I realized something important. Jake needed me. Sure, he didn't always treat me with the care I deserved, but at the end of the day, I was his partner in dental hygiene. And that was enough. The rest of the day passed in a blur. I returned to my holder, exhausted but satisfied. As I rested, I couldn't help but dream of what lay beyond the bathroom. Maybe one day, I'd go on a real vacation, somewhere sunny, with no plaque or toothpaste in sight. But for now, I was content. Because being a toothbrush isn't just about cleaning teeth. It's about being part of someone's life, one adventure at a time. And as long as Jake needed me, I'd be there, ready to shine. That night, as I sat in my holder, I couldn't shake the feeling that something big was about to happen. Jake had been acting strange all day, pacing around the bathroom and muttering to himself. I couldn't make out much, but I caught a few words: dentist, cavity, and appointment. My bristles tingled with unease. A dentist visit? That could only mean one thing: trouble. The next morning, Jake grabbed me with a sense of urgency I hadn't felt before. He brushed harder than usual, almost as if he was trying to erase years of bad habits in a single session. I wanted to yell, "Easy there, buddy. I'm a toothbrush, not a jackhammer." But I stayed quiet, doing my best to keep up with his frantic pace. By the time he was done, I was exhausted, my bristles frayed and my handle sticky with toothpaste residue. Then it hit me. Jake wasn't just brushing for himself, he was brushing for the dentist. He was trying to make it look like he'd been taking care of his teeth all along. I couldn't help but feel a little insulted. I mean, I'd been working tirelessly every day, and now he was acting like I hadn't been doing my job. But I let it slide. After all, we were a team, and teams stick together. When Jake left for his appointment, I was left alone with my thoughts. What if the dentist found a cavity? What if Jake blamed me? The thought sent a shiver down my handle. I'd heard stories from other toothbrushes about what happens when their owners lose faith in them. They get replaced, tossed aside for a newer, shinier model. I couldn't let that happen. I had to prove my worth. Hours passed, and finally, Jake returned. He looked relieved, but also a little sheepish. I could tell something had happened, but he didn't say a word. Instead, he picked me up and gave me a quick rinse, as if to say, "It's okay, Sparkle. We'll do better next time." And just like that, I knew we were back on track. That night, as Jake brushed his teeth, I felt a renewed sense of purpose. Sure, we'd had our ups and downs, but we were in this together. I wasn't just a toothbrush, I was a warrior, a protector, and a friend. And no matter what challenges lay ahead, I was ready to face them head on. As Jake placed me back in my holder, I couldn't help but smile, well, internally. Life as a toothbrush might not be glamorous, but it's never boring. Every day is a new adventure, and every adventure is a chance to make a difference. And who knows? Maybe one day, I'll get that vacation I've been dreaming of. But until then, I'll keep doing what I do best, one tooth at a time. That night, as I rested in my holder, I couldn't help but feel a sense of accomplishment. Jake and I had survived the dentist scare, and I was ready to keep proving myself. But little did I know, the biggest challenge of my life was just around the corner. The next morning started like any other. Jake grabbed me, squeezed a reasonable amount of toothpaste, finally, and began brushing. Everything seemed normal, until I noticed something strange. There was a new smell in the air, something sharp and unfamiliar. It wasn't the usual minty freshness of toothpaste. No, this was cinnamon. I froze. Cinnamon toothpaste? Was this some kind of joke? I'd heard rumors about it from other toothbrushes, but I never thought I'd have to face it myself. Cinnamon was notorious for being sticky, spicy, and, worst of all, unpredictable. My bristles weren't designed for this kind of chaos. But there was no turning back now. Jake had already started brushing. The first swipe was a disaster. The cinnamon paste clung to my bristles like glue, and the heat of the spice made my handle feel like it was on fire. I tried to stay focused, but the paste was everywhere, on the teeth, the gums, even the tongue. It was a battlefield, and I was losing. Come on, Sparkle, I told myself. You faced worse than this. You can do it. I pushed through, scrubbing harder and faster than ever before. The cinnamon fought back, but I refused to give up. Tooth by tooth, I cleared the sticky paste, leaving behind a trail of clean enamel. By the time I reached the molars, I was exhausted, but I knew I couldn't stop. Jake was counting on me. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the battle was over. Jake rinsed his mouth, and I let out a sigh of relief. I'd done it. I'd conquered the cinnamon toothpaste. But as Jake placed me back in my holder, I couldn't help but wonder, was this just the beginning? Would cinnamon become the new normal? The thought sent a shiver down my handle. That night, as I sat in my holder, I couldn't stop thinking about the day's events. The cinnamon toothpaste had been a challenge, but it had also taught me something important. Life as a toothbrush is full of surprises, and you never know what's coming next. But no matter what, you have to keep going. Because at the end of the day, it's not about the toothpaste or the teeth, it's about the bond between a toothbrush and its owner. The next morning, Jake surprised me again. This time, he didn't reach for the cinnamon toothpaste. Instead, he grabbed the old minty one. I felt a wave of relief wash over me. Maybe cinnamon wasn't here to stay after all. As Jake began brushing, I felt a renewed sense of purpose. I wasn't just a tool, I was a partner, a protector, and a friend. And together, we could face anything. As the days turned into weeks, I started to notice something different about Jake. He was brushing more regularly, flossing, finally, and even using mouthwash. It was like he'd turned over a new leaf. And I couldn't help but feel proud. Maybe the dentist visit had been a wake-up call, or maybe he'd just realized how important his teeth were. Either way, I was glad to be part of his journey. One night, as Jake placed me back in my holder, I caught a glimpse of myself in the bathroom mirror. My bristles were a little worn, and my handle had a few scratches, but I didn't mind. Every mark told a story, every scratch was a badge of honor. I wasn't just a toothbrush, I was a warrior, a survivor, and a dreamer. And as I sat there, reflecting on my adventures, I realized something important. Life isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up, doing your best, and making a difference. Whether it's battling cinnamon toothpaste, surviving a fall into the sink, or just being there for someone when they need you most, every moment matters. So here I am, Sparkle the toothbrush, ready for whatever comes next. I don't know what the future holds, but I do know one thing, I'll face it with bristles held high and a heart full of adventure. Because that's what being a toothbrush is all about. And who knows? Maybe one day, I'll get that vacation I've been dreaming of. But until then, I'll keep doing what I do best, one tooth at a time.